Hello my friends, welcome back to this week's video. Today we're going to be talking about a newer complexion product foundation, specifically from Juvia's Place, and this is their I Am Magic Natural Radiance Foundation. Like I said, this is a newer release that, to be honest, I haven't seen a lot of chit chat about it on social media. I mean, I've seen some of it here and there, but I haven't watched any actual detailed reviews or first impressions or applications of it. I went into Ulta about a week or so ago and saw the display and was intrigued, so I decided to pick it up. This is actually the first time I'm going to be trying out a Juvia's Place complexion foundation product. They do have another product that's a really full coverage. It comes in an orange squeezy tube that I never got around to trying. I did while back pick up a couple of shades in their stick foundation, but I tried to pick up shades that I could use for like cream contour, and unfortunately none of those shades ended up working for me in terms of cream contour, so I didn't really use them. So I'm counting this as my first actual experience or introduction into Juvia's Place complexion products. All right, so here we have the packaging on the inside. I want to say it's really reminiscent of the Charlotte Tilbury, is it the Glow Foundation? Or something like that, that came out last year. One of the things I noticed with this one from Juvia's Place right off the bat is it says you get 30% bonus product in this. Usually foundations come with about 30 milliliters or 1 fluid ounce of product. This one has 40 milliliters, it says here, for the price of 30 milliliters. The price on this foundation is $23, and I believe it's available in 33 shades, at least from what I could see on the Juvia's Place website. It's also available at Ulta. Like I said, that's where I picked mine up. It comes with a pump, so that is convenient. And just to give you guys some information on the product. So the product is meant to be radiant, luminous, light and long wear and water resistance. It's meant to offer a medium to full buildable coverage, paraben and oil free. I picked up the shade Ibiza, shade 530, which is a medium with cool golden undertones. Now, I will say when I was in Ulta, I did swatch a couple of them to try and figure out my shade match. And then ultimately what I ended up doing is using Ulta's shade finder on their website. And the foundation that I used for reference is my NARS Light Reflecting Foundation in the shade Punjab. I think that's medium 1. And as we know, NARS foundations tend to lean a little more yellow golden with their undertones. And so you will see in the application portion of this video that this shade specifically leans a little more yellow golden. I'm going to say compared to what I am usually right now, I am probably at my fairest than usual. So I want to say in the summertime, this is going to work fine. I did go in and do another shade match. I forget what foundation I used for reference, but the other shade I matched to was the shade 610 Cebu or Cebu. And that is a light with neutral undertone. So I haven't tested that one out, but that's just another option that I was given. All right, so we are going to dive right into the application portion of this foundation. Oh, I forgot to say, this is not a first impressions. I have used this foundation already once before. I wore it for, I want to say maybe 5 to 6 hours and took notes along the way as I wore this. So this is going to be a more in-depth review versus a first impression. So stick around to the end of the video for my final thoughts. Let's get on with the application. So like I mentioned earlier, I am using the shade Ibiza, shade 530 in this foundation. It says here to shake well, so we want to make sure we do that. And I'm going to be trying this 2 different ways for you guys today. On the box, it says here to apply, use a brush or a sponge to blend all over the face. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a brush on one side, and then I'm going to use a sponge on the other side, just so you guys can get a comparison. The instructions on Juvia's Place website also do mention to use a pea size amount. They warn using too much can make it look thick and cakey, so we're gonna try to stick to that. Okay, so we've got a pump and do pea size amount. You can see that's pretty thick. It's not rolling down my hand or anything. We're gonna start off on this side of the face with a brush. So just like I always do, I'm gonna pick up some with my finger, kind of even it out on the side of the face. And then go in with the brush. I've already primed. For today's primer, I use the Embryolisse cream moisturizer. I'll pull that out and show it to you guys. And just my regular skincare. So you can see that little bit that I applied is going quite a way, right? We've got almost my entire half of the face covered. And it wasn't even half the pea size. So I'm gonna take a little bit more, just the same. And I'm gonna put a little bit here, a little bit on my forehead. Find that my forehead needs less coverage compared to the rest of my face. You do want to make sure with this foundation that you've done your skin prep. So you want to make sure your skin is hydrated, is exfoliated, hydrated. Otherwise, I do feel like this foundation will cling and enhance texture. Okay, so there we go. We got the first side. With the brush, we've got a medium coverage on there. You can still see some of my acne scars peeking through, but we use such a little amount. I'm gonna go in on the other side with the sponge, and then we'll add more as needed depending on coverage. So I'm just using that same pump that we did on the back of my hand. I picked up a bit more on my finger, and I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna like even it out on my face. Grab my beauty sponge. This is the Elsie Velvet sponge. You guys know this is my favorite. Okay, I do feel like the sponge absorbed a little bit of the products, because on the other side I feel like the brush was able to take that little bit that we applied and blend it out further. So I'm going to pick up a bit more. Give me more coverage and blend it out. And I'm kind of bouncing the foundation. I'm not swiping, I'm bouncing and pressing it in. Okay, so there we have this side blended out with the sponge. I do have quite a bit left on the back of my hand. You can see how thick and opaque this is. And I think we got a pretty decent medium coverage. I have less acne scarring and discoloration on this side of my face, so it does look more even and more smooth compared to this side. Comparing both sides, I don't really see much of a difference between the brush and the sponge side. To be honest, they look pretty similar. Looking here around my nose, it doesn't seem to be doing anything weird or clinging or anything like that. And I don't feel like it looks heavy. I wouldn't say it's like 100% sunk into my skin yet, but it doesn't look makeup-y or cakey. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna use the rest of this to give myself a bit more coverage. I'm gonna just use the sponge on the rest of my face to pick up what we have and just give myself a little more coverage where I need it, where I have those scars. I'm not necessarily going for like a full coverage look. I don't really have anywhere in particular to be today, so. And the shade match I think is pretty good. It might be just a smidge on the yellow golden side for me right now. I am pretty pale. I will be going on vacation soon, so I'm hoping to get a bit of a tan, and if that happens, I think this shade will work just fine. The last two complexion products foundation videos, well, the last, yeah, that I've done, I've used the sponge, and I'm actually really enjoying using a sponge with my foundation again. I haven't done it in many years, but I'm liking this. So we've got it applied. I've used up everything on the back of my hand. I don't think I necessarily want to add any more. They do market this as a medium buildable to full coverage foundation, but they also say to not use more than a pea-size amount. So how buildable can it be? I guess if you have pretty clear skin, then that pea-size amount would be just fine. But if you have a lot of acne scars, discolorations and whatnot, I don't know if you could get that full coverage with just that pea-size amount. So keep that in mind. The time right now is about 2:30. So I'm going to hop off, do the rest of my makeup, and then I'll come back and show you guys what it's looking like, as well as give you my thoughts on this foundation as a whole. Like I mentioned in the beginning, I have worn this already, so this is not a first impressions. I did a kind of full day wear test, or at least 5 hours, I don't remember exactly, with this foundation, and I wrote some notes, so I'll be sharing that when I come back. And we're back with my full face done. As I was applying the rest of my makeup, I realized that I had my cup in the background during the application, so I apologize for that. But all right, let's get into the Juvia's Place I Am Magic Natural Radiance Foundation. It is now almost 3:30, so I've had it on for about an hour or so. I've went ahead and applied most of my typical products on top. I think the only thing I didn't do today, which I forgot, is a highlight, but that's okay. So let's get into my notes from the other day that I wore this foundation, just to give you guys an idea. This was, I want to say, last week when I wore it, and I am looking at my notes down here. So I wore it for 9+ hours. I know I mentioned in the beginning of the video that I wore it for about 5 or 6, but I was mistaken. I'm looking here at my notes, and I wore it for 9+ hours. That was an accident. The day just got away from me, and it ended up being on that long, but works well for us. That day, my skin was not in the best of places. I was having a little bit more of active breakouts and some healing. So I had a little bit more of dryness and patchiness. I used as primer the last time my e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. And so a couple of the things that I noticed last time, I did notice some creasing and buildup around my nose area. This tends to be my problem area, especially if I've been having a stuffy, runny nose. Unfortunately, with the pregnancy, I'm finding myself needing to blow my nose a lot more often. So this area is drier than it normally is. I will say, comparing that to today I used the Embryolisse, let me grab it, the Embryolisse hydrating moisturizer, this guy right here, as well as with my typical skincare, and I feel like it's sitting a lot better today with this as my primer compared to the e.l.f. Power Grip. So that's one thing to point out. I also, last time I wore it, did not use a sponge. So as you saw in the demo portion, we used the sponge on this side and we used the brush on this side. I used only a brush last time, and I did notice that the longer I had the foundation on, the more it looked like skin. So the more it seemed to sink in and really mesh with my skin, which was great. So I'm gonna say, if you have a lot of breakouts, a lot of texture, dryness in your skin, this may not be the foundation for you. You You might want to try just making sure you have your skin prepped really well, really hydrated before going in with it. Otherwise, I do think it can get pretty heavy looking in those areas. On that day that I wore it for 9 hours, I also wore a mask for a pretty good amount of time. I want to say at least an hour or so that I had the mask off and on, and I didn't find it transfer very much. I didn't have any weird markings or liftings or anything like that. And I did actually get a compliment from my husband on my foundation that day without him really knowing that I was testing a new foundation. So some pros and some cons there. Ooh, we got some clouds coming through, so my lighting is shifting. I did also notice, oh, that's a big shift in light. Okay, if it just got real dark in the video, we've got some clouds coming through, so we're just gonna move right along. The foundation also has a very light scent, and I'm looking here at the ingredients to see if I can find fragrance in it. Yes, so there is some fragrance in it about halfway down the ingredient list. I would say it smells like kind of like a spa type scent, and it dissipates. So you can smell it. It's not very strong upon application, but it dissipates almost immediately afterwards, and you don't smell it, or it's not lingering throughout the rest of the day. For it being such a thick formula, I do find that it feels lightweight on the skin. It doesn't feel heavy. I don't feel like I have a mask or a layer on. It doesn't look like I have this layer of foundation on my face either. But then again, with it being the thick formula, keep in mind how much you're using. So they specifically indicate to not use more than a pea-size amount. I have a feeling that if you use more than that, it can get cakey, especially if you have texture, breakouts, wrinkles, fine lines. You may find that it is clinging or settling into those areas. I'm gonna have to say, for this being my first complexion product from Juvia's place that I've tried, I am pretty impressed. I wasn't expecting to really enjoy this product as much as I think I do right now. I picked it up more of a curiosity and being more on the, what's the word? I didn't have really high expectations for it, but I wanted to check it out and review it for you guys. And I'm pleasantly surprised so far. I think for the amount of product you get, again, you're getting 30% more than your typical. So you're getting 40 milliliters versus your standard kind of 30 milliliters. For the price, it's pretty reasonable. It's not a drugstore price, although I feel like drugstore pricing is going up and up and up. $23 for this foundation. Most high-end foundations range within the $30 and up price range. And then you have your drugstores, which are $10 to $15 right around there, depending on the brand. So $23 is a little bit more up there in price compared to some of our other drugstore options. But then again, you are getting more product. So you win some, you lose some, I guess. I am going to continue to use this foundation, and if you would like updates, let me know. I can post some updates on my Instagram, maybe do a reel or something like that if any of you guys are interested. So comment below. And with that, we've come to the end of the video. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you've tried it out and how you feel about it. Was this a yes or a no for you? I'd be interested to hear what people with other skin types are thinking of this foundation. I have combination skin that leans oily, obviously acne prone, and I think it did pretty well for me. So again, comment below, let me know what you think. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Layla. Thank you for stopping by. I hope you subscribe to my channel before you leave and join our little family. And for all my returning viewers, I hope you subscribe as well. And for those of you that are subscribed, special thank you to all of you guys for taking time out of your day to subscribe. It really means a lot to me, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.